formerly Calgary 2-7, formerly voice of the Calgary Stampeders, pride of Cardiff, Saskatchewan. How you doing, Mike?
Don't forget that Cardiff, Saskatchewan thing. Shout out to everybody back there.
I didn't know it had a nickname of he's a carny. I should have known. Mike, It's Flame Tech Football Friday, so let's begin there, if you don't mind, with the Canadian Football League. What's the Calgary view on the canceled season and where we sit here 8 months into the pandemic?
I was talking to Dave Dickinson yesterday, and they're on a holding pattern. They really don't know. I said, come on, you guys certainly have had conversations with the NFL. Because he goes, no, the NFL has their own problems. They've got to deal with their own situation. We're on a holding pattern. And a lot of these guys are in the dark. And Dave is as honest and forthright as you'll get. And I just, they're frustrated as hell. You know that. But Dave he's just on a holding pattern, waiting to see what's next. And I can't believe they're not trying to get something motivated. The only thing I've heard about them is, and I was talking with Clark about that, was that silly thing that they've got fans' names on the Grey Cup base. And I go, well, that's all they got for marketing. They should be re-examining things.
I'd love to know how much has been raised by that, by the way, but I don't think we would ever find out. But what about the fact that what we hear out of Calgary is it's all Flames, 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 Flames. The focus is the new arena. The Stampeders are just an afterthought. That was in good times, Mike. Like, how much danger is this football team in right now? Because the conglomerate that owns them is laying off people left and right.
Well, I think the whole league is, you have to look at the whole league, Rod. I know with the Flames, they own everything, right? They've got a monopoly on everything, which I never did like that. I always like to see different groups because if you made one guy mad, you paid the price for covering everything. They've got the money, but, everybody, as you guys just said, everyone's concerned about the cash right now, and they're wanting to see what's next. The Stamps, as far as a team goes, they're pretty secure. They're well run. They're very disciplined. But the Flames, they keep them down there. They don't spread a lot of money that way, even in the regular season. So it'll be interesting to see what happens now.
I don't like the conglomerates either, but I thought if this is what's best for the survival of the league, then great, i.e. MLSE, OSEG in Ottawa, what you got over there in Calgary, but it's not saving the league either. Right? What good has it been? Really?
Yeah. I mean, Calgary's had both. They've had, back in the 80s, they did, when they really had to struggle in about 84, they were kind of held together by the community. Then they had different prolific owners. Rickman was one who never met a microphone he didn't like. I always thought Seguchi was the best. Heller came in, and then of course, they sold out to the Flames, and the Flames do what they do. But, you're not going to be rich working for the Calgary Stampeders, that's for sure.
You know what? I'm going to come around to the Flames in a second, but obviously the CFL has a huge part in all of our hearts. What would you say is the golden era of Stampeders football?
Doug Flutie. And Wally did a great job, but Wally left a lot of Grey Cups on the table. He did. I mean, you think back even in '94 when they lost to BC. In '93 they lost to Edmonton in the Western Final, the coldest day I've ever seen in football. And in '95 they lost to Baltimore in Regina. They had heartbreak after heartbreak. Winning only one with Doug Flutie just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And then, of course, the worst trade in the history of all mankind took place, and Rickman basically gave him away to Toronto. And I still believe he owes Doug $1 million. Lots of luck getting that.
Yeah, I know. And I think, from what I understand, Flutie still harbors ill will over that towards the Stampeders. Have you heard that? Have I read that right? It's not the Stamps, it's Rickman, but he sees it as the Stamps.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. I saw a Football Life with Doug Flutie, and he was talking about it and said, yeah, the guy still owes him money. And Rickman still denies it, and even I remember being at the Grey Cup game one time, they ran an interview with Rickman talking about that. And, he just shuts it off. But That's the bottom line. And Doug loved his time here. He really did love the time here. And they should have, I don't know. It's kind of like getting rid of Gretzky, right? Yeah, Gretzky, of course, on a bigger scale, but getting rid of Doug Flutie, I think, was a horrible mistake. And I think the league wanted that done more than anything. And Toronto was kind of a weak link at the time and gave Doug Flutie a chance to go there and win 2 Grey Cups. And, of course, he went down to Buffalo.
As you say that, the first thing I thought of was Pocklington Gretzky. Sounds like the same sort of deal. And, yeah, the Argos won back-to-back Grey Cups in 96, 97. Didn't even go watch him then. But then when he goes to the NFL, they refer to him as our Doug Flutie. But anyways.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What is going on with the Flames, by the way? It seems quiet from what we're saying, but they've been busy, I'm sure.
Well, of course, free agency has come and gone. And the big question is, how much did they improve? And I think they have improved quite a bit. But don't forget, there's 2 seasons here. There's the regular season, and 2 years ago, the Flames were the best at it. Then they get the bum rush and basically knock down their derrieres in Colorado. Last year, I don't know how they didn't beat Dallas. I mean, they had them. They had them. So the thing is, I think with Markstrom, they went after who they wanted, and they maybe overpaid for that, but they got the goalie. Really, goaltending's been a problem here since Kiprusoff, right? And then they went out and shored up the defense, but I don't think they're stopped at defense. Tanev comes in, but it's kind of a lateral move.
Are you a believer in Jeff Ward? It seems like anybody that knows him is. And when they dropped the interim tag, it was like, if not him, who? But how did you feel about that move?
I think it was outstanding. The more you look at coaches, especially NHL coaches, who get fired more than anybody, the word I get about Jeff Ward is the players love him. If you look at someone like Lutz, he was very frustrated in Edmonton, very frustrated when he came here. He didn't have a role. With Jeff Ward, who he knew in Boston, and they both won a Stanley Cup together, he finally has a role. And he knows exactly what he has to do to play that. And in fact, if you looked at the playoffs, Lutz was very impressive. He was a grinder out there. Him and Bennett hit everybody. And it was fun to watch, right? It was literally fun to watch. But, they got to get that mentality a little more during the regular season. But I don't know if they're done dealing yet. There's still rumors.
By the way, I'm just going to sprinkle in some comments from our viewers as we go. And Mike, they love the CFL, these viewers. Chris in Toronto says the conglomerate won't necessarily save the CFL, but they will save the Argos, Stamps, Red Blacks from extinction so that they can be part of the next CFL. That's your take. I'm not sure I agree with that. Mandy in Edmonton says, I really wonder what Ed Hervey's next step is going to be, whether he will stay in the CFL. Well, it sounds like over the weekend we'll hear from 3downnation.com more on the Ed Hervey resignation with the BC Lions. But as I look on the board here, one of the comments still stands there about paying extra money, premium money for tickets. Can you give me a Calgary perspective on the pandemic sports-wise, Mike, i.e., do you think people would pay a premium to go to the Flames if there was only, let's say, 10,000 allowed in the Saddle Dome or 10,000 allowed to McMahon? Do you think people out there, and let's throw the Roughnecks in there too, the reigning league champs, I believe, would they pay a premium?
I think if you looked at that, Rod, I think the Flames would. I think people would pay money to go see the Flames. In this era of this being Kachuk's team, I think a lot of people love that. They're a young team, and I think they provide the excitement. Stampeders, well, there's some diehard Stampeder fans. It depends what the price would be. But there are those people that believe right now the Stampeder tickets are even too expensive. But the Flames tickets, aren't they at a premium right now? I mean, I took 3 clients. I took 3 clients to see the Boston Bruins. We sat behind the Bruins bench, the team they wanted to see, team I wanted to see, and it cost $1,700. Wow, that's a lot of money. Can they go up from there? I don't think so. But they have to start figuring ways to make money, and I don't think the guys want to play in a bubble all year. So, there's talk about that Canadian conference. What do you think? Do you want to see Ottawa 10 times?
Yes. I'll say it right now, I'm all in on the Canadian division. Trust me, I am. There's a dream for me. That's like original Six stuff. By the way, a viewer wrote in, David from Winnipeg, happy birthday to Chris Walby, CFL great, 64 years young today. And as he says that, Facebook is such a wonderful thing. Was that yesterday I said that?
Today.
Birthdays?
For Bryn.
Sean White, Facebook friends with him, kicker of the Edmonton football team. Walby came up. Ryan Lucas, former Rough Rider in Montreal Alouette. So I just don't want to single out Bluto, but all the other Facebook friends that I'm with in the Canadian Football League. What else you got today, Mike? I'm enjoying this. What else from a Calgary perspective?
Well, first of all, talk about you go back to the birthday boy, Walby. It was just a privilege to talk with him when he played for the Blue Boomers. They always had him and Miles Gaudreau they're media darlings. And so I remember going to the Grey Cup in '92 and just the stories these guys would come up with, right? It was just awesome. So great to see those kind of guys. That's what the CFL is all about, those kind of players. And he was certainly one of the great ones. You always knew he was going to come up with a great comment.
Mike, last one here. All the Calgary viewers have come alive. We've got Mike Lownsbrough on here. And I would keep you longer, but we got Jimmy Schimmel waiting here off the set. Jimmy Schimmel, that's right.
Well, anytime you can get donuts.
Exactly. All right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Jason in Red Deer says, Mike, there's always chatter about trading Johnny Gaudreau. What are your thoughts?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think at the free agency thing, you saw that teams are a little nervous. And I did a piece a while back, and I talked about the different players that the Calgary Flames have given up on early in their career. Gaudreau's still got 2 years left. And, you look back at the guys, St. Louis, and you look back at different guys. The most notable was Bret Hart. No, he couldn't back check. Well, gee, how many goals did that guy score? He had 82 one year, 70 and others, So Gaudreau's the same way. He's under 2 years left, so why trade him? Unless you're getting something great back.
Well, and
I don't know if they will. Right?
Does he want to be there? Because I watch a lot of Flames games. He doesn't necessarily look as engaged as I'd like to see. Is there anything to that?
Well, see, there's another thing. I said maybe you have to shake up this top line. And maybe, we talked about Gretzky and, Yuri Curry. Don't forget, those guys were well protected, right? So maybe you need a grinder that can score and work on that line. You got to protect him, but he's got to get more engaged for sure.
Hey, while I have you, Jason, one of the viewers says, Mike, any new developments or talk on the new stadium plans? Now, hang on. There's no football stadium talk at all. What are they saying about the hockey rink, considering that we're in a pandemic?
That I have heard absolutely nothing on that. Absolutely nothing on it. With this COVID thing going on, a lot of people are just, they're just looking to survive, So I really, there hasn't been much talk. If there has, I haven't heard anything on it. It's exciting to think that we'll finally get a new arena, a world-class arena. But it just seems like yesterday the old Saddle Dome was put up and then they remodeled it about 3-4 times. So are they ever going to be happy?
I know, but you know what, Mike? As you know, I love the Saddle Dome, and I'm a farm kid where there's a difference between what you need and what you want. And I live based on what I need. Right. That's why I don't understand pro sports these days. And that's why I think they're taking in the pills right now from the pandemic. It's from the sports god up there saying, enough, guys. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But let me just say this. For those that don't know, everybody in Calgary knows you, but I've said you're one half of Jay and Dan before there was a Jay and Dan. I went to Mount Royal 90-91. My roommate worked at the Shark Club on Electric Avenue. Actually, he worked at the bar called Electric Avenue on Electric Avenue. I worked at the Rock and Horse Saloon at the age of 18. You remember that place?
Oh, really?
The Divorce Horse? So what did you think? What did you think? It was like a punch to the gut to me when Ranchman's announced their closing. And I wonder if you could go down there and say, give my respects to the Cowboys down there. Because such good times.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Well, you just talked about some of the best nightclubs around, period. I mean, you throw the Palomino Club in Winnipeg in there, and boy, you had some great country bars. And our band played at Ranchman's before, and anybody at Stampede that hasn't gone to Ranchman's hasn't been alive in this town, because before the Stampede, they had the bull riding and everything like that. It's just a tradition. And that says what's going on here. Shanks, too. We used to do our show live every Wednesday night from Shanks back in the day, back in 94, 95. So when those kind of places are going into business, that tells you what kind of situation we're really in. And I knew it's going to hit the sports franchises sooner or later, especially the CFL with a gate-driven league, right?
Yeah, well, Mandy in Edmonton says, I think the CFL has more money than we think. They're still paying coaches to work from home. In Edmonton, they're still discussing a new name. I see this as a positive for the future of the league. I'll kick this around more with Dupes a little later, because we do got to let you go, Mike. But I love this. This has been great. We're just scratching the surface here. Don't you get that? Don't you get that sense?
Oh, yeah. It's always fun to be on here. One time when I'm on, ask me about the Bob Foley story, because it's a beautiful thing and it'll make you laugh.
You'll have to be more specific. I'm sure you've got more than one.
Well, this one is a great one. That's what I love about the characters of the CFL, Rod. They've just some great stories.
Can't let that go. All right, Mike. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate the time.
All right, buddy.
Our Calgary correspondent, can I say that?
Sure.
Mike Lownsbrough, checking in from Cowtown.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.